Even Democrats said the president's performance last night wasn't up to par before all the spin began after the debate. I was glued to my Twitter feed, and my surprise, Democrats were instantly depressed. If you were watching it live, it was their raw reaction. With me now is Democratic strategist Mark Hanna, former aide to John Kerry and Barack Obama presidential campaigns. Thank you so much for joining us. And I was particularly interested in looking at these responses in real time before you get the analysis on TV of who won and who lost, and before, people like myself pick out sound bites. I wanted to see in real time what people were thinking. And you saw as it went along, and we have some examples that Democrats were getting a little depressed during the debate. What do you think?
I think Democrats were definitely trying to cheer on the president, and absolutely. Did we see, us Democrats, did we see Mitt Romney giving an extremely slick performance? Definitely. A million of polls show that Democrats aren't as enthusiastic about the results as we had hoped we would be. But the fact of the matter is, Mitt Romney has been rehearsing for this since June. So, he's been preparing more than any other presidential candidate in modern history.
I love
and
a president that does his homework.
I mean,
I want to hire someone to be CEO of the country who does his homework. I don't know that that's a fault.
Absolutely.
That
he doesn't have necessarily... Absolutely, Melissa. He doesn't have as much time to do his homework when he's busy running the country. But no, absolutely. Did Mitt Romney win on style points? For sure. Now, people like us, we can talk about this, and we're treating this a little bit like a boxing match, and absolutely Romney maybe had a couple good zingers, had a couple good punches in there. But when people go to the polls and vote, they're going to look at whose policies are going to best support people like them.
So where did you see he failed on substance? What would you point to that you didn't like on substance?
You brought up the soundbite about his 5 boys and how people repeating things over and over.
Right.
Mitt Romney repeated over and over that he wasn't going to decrease taxes on the rich. That's simply not true. The wealthiest Americans are going to pay over $250,000 less under a
well, I think he was arguing about the exact
right
math. It was that $5 trillion number. I think he's been very straightforward about the fact that he's going to lower tax rates for everyone. I think the exact thing that they were fighting about was if you could make that up by closing loopholes. And in fact, that was a great segue. We have a soundbite from the president on that. Let's listen to it, and we'll talk about it on the other side, because I want to talk about the substance here. Let's listen.
Governor Romney's proposal that he's been promoting for 18 months calls for a $5 trillion tax cut on top of $2 trillion of additional spending for our military. And he is saying that he is going to pay for it by closing loopholes and deductions. The problem is that he's been asked over 100 times how you would close those deductions and loopholes, and he hasn't been able to identify them.
And he went on to say in a different side, actually, that it's not possible to come up with enough deductions and loopholes that only affect high-income individuals to avoid raising taxes and burdening the middle class. Now, this is it. We've all been looking at this all day to try and look at the math. And the difference is whether you think the economy is going to grow when you lower taxes or not. That's sort of the essential difference. Do you not believe the economy grows when you lower taxes, and does the president not believe that?
Right. Does the economy grow is one thing, but then also where are we going to pay for these $5 trillion?
Well, with the economy growing, and then it drives more revenue because people are earning more money, so they pay more taxes.
That's an assumption, though. You're
that's
making
what I'm saying.
That's a theory.
That is an assumption. So do you believe that or not? Do you not believe that?
Do I think that when you roll back taxes, the economy grows in the long term? Absolutely. Yeah. But in the short term, when people are hurting right now, do we need to invest in the sort of middle class policies that, if we, and let's look at the taxes he's proposing on reducing. If Mitt Romney decreases an across-the-board 20% tax cut like he's proposing, things like the mortgage interest deduction that middle-class families enjoy, those are the types of things that have to be on the table. So if you roll back taxes on the rich for things
it's taxes on everybody. We're looking at it on the screen. It's every single tax bracket there. We're looking at it across the board.
Aside from income tax, he's also proposing rolling back the dividend income tax, the carried interest deduction, capital gains, all these things that predominantly wealthier Americans benefit from. So you end up having to saddle and so when Mitt Romney talks about closing loopholes, we need to know which loopholes those are. I think the president's one good zinger last night was when he said, Mitt Romney, you're talking about all these different things. When are you going to give us the specifics of what these deductions are that you're going to close? What loopholes you're going to close? Are they just too good that the American people you're keeping them secret because they're too good for us to hear?
Well, I'm glad you found something you liked about the debate. Thanks for coming on. We appreciate it.